Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yugioh VRains episode review. This time we will be reviewing episode 94 of Yugioh VRains, the beginning of the Bowman and Soulburner duel. I apologize if my voice seems a little hoarse. I am dealing with a bit of a sore throat, so if I sound a little out of it, that is the reason why. But I am very excited to share my thoughts on this episode, and of course to hear from all of you in regards to this episode. So before we get into my general impressions of the episode itself, just want to get off the bat that the animation was incredible. This is one of, it might be one of No Gilbo's best animated episodes, and I really do mean that. Some of the shots of Soulburner looked absolutely incredible. Some of the shots of even Playmaker being unconscious. The detail that this man puts into his animation is incredible. So No Gilbo, props to you. As always, knew he was going to deliver, and he delivered a magnificently, beautifully animated episode. The voice acting, Soulburner's voice acting, and even Bowman's voice acting at times, I thought was amazing. They truly did pick in Kajiyuki, Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan, Todoroki from My Hero Academia. They truly did pick the best choice voice actor for Soulburner, for a character that is going to get very angry, that has a short temper, that we see in his past didn't even really want to live. He said he didn't care if he lived or died until he heard about Playmaker, until he heard about the Lost Incident, and knew there was a way to actually invest into his future. So a character that kind of comes from a much more grittier and tougher background than most. Soulburner, Kajiyuki played him magnificently in this episode. So wanted to start on that note. As for the content of the episode itself, I thought it was really enjoyable. And of course, when you get a great voice-acted episode, when you get a really good animation episode, it's tough for the episode not to be enjoyable because those are two big factors of an episode. But the content itself, I really did enjoy. There's just something about Bowman that is very, very chilling, no matter what happens to him. And we even got a little bit of a taste of this in the duel against Blue Maiden and Aqua. No matter what happens to him since he's completed his final form, he's just very calm. He's smiling about everything. He's calculated. He's collected. He's very appraising of the individual. You don't really see that with villains. Like, imagine Yami Marek praising the Joey Wheeler in that duel in Battle City. You would never see it, but Bowman is genuinely praising the opponents that he's trying to strike down and kill. He praised Blue Maiden, said she was a very tough duelist. Now he's praising Soulburner and Flame in this duel every time that they counter, and that can really throw off your demeanor because, if I'm dueling someone and they're praising me, genuinely praising me, it's going to rile me up if they're a villain. If I want to actually defeat them and they've done some horrific things, which obviously Bowman has done some horrific things. So it's as if he's playing mind games, but at the same time, I genuinely do believe that he's praising his opponents. So it's a really unique concept here, and I really do enjoy that aspect of it. Going back to the beginning of the episode, Playmaker is unconscious. The Knights of Hanoi break into successfully Mirror Link VRains. Vira is able to get in touch with Revolver, who says, send this message to Lightning. Also, I have another update I want you to make. I think we know what that is. If people who have been paying attention to the cards that have been coming out, to the cover card of Rising Rampage, that's what I'm pretty sure the update is going to be to his deck, which we're going to see in probably the next duel, which it seems pretty obvious that it's going to be Revolver versus Lightning after this, as Lightning leaves, not to follow Bowman, but to most likely go to Revolver after he received the message. So really excited for that, but that was an interesting development. What that message will be, we probably will have to wait until the Soulburner Bowman duel concludes to find that out. But Soulburner leaves his area because they're allowed to leave. So he goes on his D board, and I actually thought for a little bit that this was going to be a speed duel. I was like, well, we had so many, and of course I'm someone who prefers master duels to speed duels. I was like, well, we had so many master duels, I guess we were overdue for a speed duel. But Bowman actually doesn't do a speed duel. He doesn't initiate a speed duel. They go to this water area, which makes sense. They're like somehow standing under a lake, it seems, right? It's like they're standing underwater and breathing underwater. And of course, and it makes sense in two different ways for Bowman. The first way it makes sense is the way that he describes it, where he says, this is my new power since I absorbed Aqua, so it's a fitting battlefield to have for us. But the next reason that it makes sense is water is the counter of fire, so it kind of puts Soulburner at a bit of a disadvantage, and I think it's symbolic for how, if you're going to put water over any fire, the flame is going to burn out. instantly it's going to burn out. So if Soulburner does end up losing, he lost underwater where his flame completely burnt out. So I think that symbolism is incredible. But moreover than that, the Hydra Drive monsters that Bowman has are all able to negate fire effects. They're all able to negate really whatever type effects that they choose to. So by being underwater, again, it's that symbolism that the fire isn't able to burn underwater. It's not able to manifest underwater. And so I thought the symbolism there to not only like duel on a lake or duel like in an ocean, to be actually underwater, I thought was really, really good, and I really do enjoy that symbolism. We also see at the end of this duel, the duel goes back and forth, and I actually would give the advantage to Soulburner in this episode. Thought he dueled really, really well. And at one point, he's able to destroy Bowman's protection. He's able to get Bowman's Link 2 monster. I believe it was a Link 2. Maybe it was a Link 3 on the first turn. I think it was a Link 2, though. Down to 0 attack points because it copies Salomon Great Mole's attack points. Soulburner attacks them with Heat Lyo basically directly. So he wipes out Bowman's field, except Judgment Arrows. I do not believe... Oh, no, he did get Judgment Arrows off the field. So he clears out Bowman's field entirely, deals him 2,300 points of damage. Thought it was a really good turn for Soulburner. And then Bowman finally summons the monster that I have wanted to see for almost 50 episodes now. I figured Lightning was going to be the one to summon this monster. I actually think it fits more that Bowman does, because now Bowman is more directly connected to the destruction of the Cyberse world. And we knew Lightning created Bowman. So if Lightning used that monster to destroy the Cyberse world, you know, he's already responsible. Like, this puts Bowman at the scene of the crime. So I think it makes more sense, and it was better executed that it was a Bowman monster. And Bowman summons Link 3, Paradox, Hydra Drive, Atlas. And as soon as this monster was summoned, I knew right away what it was. I knew that this was the monster that destroyed the Cyberse world. The same monster that, in fact, Windy mimicked was attacking his area when we were first introduced to Windy, which was kind of a foreshadow that Windy was probably going to be on the side of the villains, now that I think about it. So probably should have seen that coming a little more. At least I didn't really see it coming. But Hydra Drive Atlas, what happens next is one of the coolest scenes of the entire episode, where Bowman just starts going crazy, and he talks about how he can manipulate luck because he is Link VRains, and luck really isn't even a thing, because after Soulburner says you're going to leave the duel up to luck, and we see Link VRains again, very similar to what happened in the Blue Maiden and Aqua duel, when Bowman kind of wanted to scare Blue Maiden and Aqua a little bit by showing them how much he is ingrained into Link VRains. And we see everything in Link VRains start to fade. We see people in Mirror Link VRains, even Playmaker, Revolver, and Soulburner, being affected by Bowman just setting off basically a mini EMP into the whole server. And then the next line that Bowman delivers is incredible. He goes, "God rolls the dice, judgment dice." But I love that God rolls the dice line. Like, he genuinely, just like Lightning, views himself as this otherworldly god, basically. And it's just such a creepy, unnerving line, and Bowman's voice actor delivered it magnificently in an episode that was obviously Kaji Yuki dominating in terms of being just an incredible voice actor. I thought whoever VAs for Bowman, delivered that line magnificently. I loved it, and it just, again, shows that even though Bowman does have a little more of a sense of humility and honor, I would even say that Bowman has honor, because going back to the very beginning of this episode, when Lightning is literally throwing Playmaker's basically corpse to the ground over and over, saying, "Hey, wake up, duel me. If you don't duel me, I'm gonna just, kill you or take eye or whatever." And then Bowman says, "No, let's not do it this way. We have to prove that we can defeat them. If you kill a wounded lion, they will always say that you did it via cheating. We have to wait until they're full strength or able to at least duel. That way we can prove to them and prove to ourselves that we are ready to become the new leaders and the new gods, basically, of a new world." And I really love that line. And the second Bowman said that, Lightning just goes, "Okay." Like, Lightning completely agrees to him, completely submits to him, which I thought was, that whole scene, I thought was interesting, because that was really the first time that Bowman probably went against Lightning's wishes. So, again, maybe that's kind of foreshadowing in a split between those two, I'm not too sure. But Bowman has honor. In that scene, he had honor. In various scenes against Blue Maiden, against Aoi's Eisen, he praised her dueling. In various scenes today against Soulburner, praised his dueling. But at that same time, he has that arrogance about him. He has that, "I'm better than you. I'm going to take over this world. I am going to become a god." And he truly does view himself as a god. So I think the dynamic in Bowman's character is so fascinating, and he was a character that honestly I slept on for almost pretty much the whole arc. The first 3 Playmaker duels that he had, which were his first 3 duels, I wasn't really a big fan of him, but my opinion of him really started changing in the Blue Maiden duel, and it continues to grow in a more positive way after this duel. I know some people do find him to be pretty boring, but I think the relationship again between him and Lightning is fascinating, and I think him now becoming the character that he was meant to be and the personality that he has is really, really cool. So that's how the episode ends, with a shot of his face saying Judgment Roll. Based on the preview, I would guess that Soulburner would win. But then again, I also thought that based on the preview for the Blue Maiden Bowman duel, I thought Blue Maiden was going to win. So I still am sticking to my guns and predicting Bowman is going to win. A little bit of foreshadowing, maybe, is that Bowman said, I'm going to use this as a test before my final duel with Playmaker. I hope something else happens, because I'm really not excited about a 4th Playmaker versus Bowman duel. If they had only dueled twice and maybe Haru dueled one of the other times, probably wouldn't mind it as much, but to duel 4 times the same matchup in a 1-year span, in a 50-episode span, not really looking too forward to that. So hopefully there is a little bit of a curveball here, but it makes sense for Bowman to believe that the final duel will be him versus Playmaker. I'd much rather see a Lightning versus Playmaker duel, for instance, or even maybe a Bowman versus Lightning duel or something along those lines, but we will have to wait and see. But guys, I am going to cut myself off there. Please let me know all your thoughts on this episode. Again, I apologize if my voice sounds a little hoarse. I thought it was going to fail out a few times during recording. It actually didn't, so it probably won't sound as bad as I think it does, but sore throats are the most annoying thing in the world. But let me know your thoughts down below, and let me know who you think is going to win this duel and what is going to happen in the show from this point going forward. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, James Rose, Omni Lord, Thomas Adderley, Samuel Stark, Horace Maye, and Amber Crystal, and to my Diamond tier patrons Bouldergeist and Jesse Wood, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons Syn Cloud and Chris Swan. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. I cannot tell you how much it helps out me and helps out the channel, and a huge thank you to everyone who just watches these videos, because without you guys, I would not be able to do this. I will talk to you all down below. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.